Hi everyone, welcome back to another week with Teacher Putri. So, for this week, I'm actually going to bring you back on another vlog. Since last week I did a vlog, but this one is more of a story time. A story time, as you can see on the screen, is about my Korea trip in 2018. Are you guys ready to listen? Let's go! I went to Korea with my family and I in 2018. A fun fact about me is that my parents are both flight attendants. However, because of the COVID-19, my mother doesn't serve an airline anymore. However, my father is still a flight attendant. So because of that, the story actually begins with my dad having a flight to go to Korea. And his flight was quite long. So all of us decided that we should follow my father to go to Korea together. Since my father was in charge of the flight, he was the leading flight attendant. Instead of sitting at an economy class, we got upgraded to first class. Another reason why we got upgraded was because the captain of that flight was a good friend of my father's. So we got upgraded, and all four of us, my sister, my brother, my mother and I, all got our individual seats in first class. And instead of exploring first class, it was so comfortable that I just fell asleep. I just laid my head on the seat and passed out. It was very comfortable. However, I think the best thing about the flight was that the captain actually gave us a chance to go see the landing and the takeoff from the pilot's cockpit. So my sister, my brother and I, all of us got the chance to go inside the pilot's cockpit and choose either to see the takeoff or the landing. I've seen it twice, but it still mesmerized me every time. The view from that place is just different from the view from the passenger seat. Arriving in Korea, the weather was so different from the airport, from Malaysia. It was so cold that since I was just wearing a t-shirt inside the plane, I instantly had to take my puffer jacket and put it on because it was freezing. My hands were numb, and when I talked, smoke came out of my mouth. It was that cold. So while arriving, we went to the hotel that my father was staying in because all of the staff had to stay at the same place. So before we went there, we walked around the area trying to see if we can find something to eat and to see what is around there. We weren't staying there, so we tried to discover as much as possible while waiting for the van that was supposed to bring us to our hotel. So we walked around, and it was such a quiet, clean, and calm place that it was very relaxing, and it felt very nice to just walk around, and you don't even have to do anything. Just walk and look at the buildings. It was a nice change of pace from the busy city life. That was actually all we did for that day. When the van arrived, we hopped in and went to our little apartment and just settled down for the day. But we had a whole schedule for the second day, which was going to Nami Island. We went to Nami Island by train, and it was such a long journey that everyone fell asleep. except for me. I was too excited to fall asleep. So I was looking at the scenery, looking at the train, looking at everyone inside the train. I think I was just too excited. So arriving at Nami Island, there was so many animals and there was so many people. The attractions were very nice, the trees were very calming, but I think the most interesting thing about the place was a freezing waterfall. So there was this waterfall that freezed due to the cold weather, which was very interesting to me. And another interesting thing that happened is my dream was to meet EXO in Korea. But instead of meeting EXO, which I know was a really hard dream to achieve, I met their cardboard cutouts, and even though they were just cardboard, I was very happy. So in Korea, we didn't have much planned because it was a short and sudden trip. So after going to Nami Island, we were on the bus trip home when the bus drivers were doing stops for the other people who had places they wanted to go. So at this one stop, they were at a garden, and at night the garden was supposed to be filled with lights. So my family and I decided that we should stop here, we should see the garden, but we couldn't stay long because we needed to get to our apartment, which was very far, and we had to ride the train before it stops. So we cherished our time at the garden. Even though we did not get to see the glowing lights, the garden was still very beautiful. It was filled with so many rare and also colorful plants, trees, bushes, and garden statues, which was very nice, and when you walked around, you just felt at peace. I really liked the garden.
No place, no town that we can go. 항상 why not 부딪혀봐.
A unexpected thing that happened to us, or a surprise that happened to us, was actually our return ticket, our flight home, was not confirmed. So we already had to leave our apartment, but we don't have anywhere to go. So my mother had to book the nearest hotel in Itaewon, and we stayed there for one night since we couldn't go home. So after choosing our hotel, we said, why not discover some more places since we have time? So we went to Gangnam, the city of shopping. And to get to Gangnam, I had to search for directions, which was so confusing because it was my first time, and the railway stations, train stations, were so many and there were so much directions that thankfully we did not get lost. So in Gangnam, things were actually very cheap. And I got myself a pair of beautiful white Fila shoes. After that, we decided to go skiing. And since it's the first time for all of us, we had a ski lesson with a trainer before we were allowed to ski on our own. Sadly, my hands were very sensitive to the cold that I only got to do the lessons and I didn't get to go skiing on my own. But my younger sister and brother, they were so good at it and their body are very tough. So they got to go skiing on the highest mountain peak. Even though I didn't get to experience it, it was so much fun to learn something new. And it was actually very hard for first timers, but I hope someday I'll get to do it again and hopefully ski down the highest peak just like my sister and brother. So before our flight, we head back to Itaewon, where we stayed before, to go and see or leave our name at the Seoul Lock Tower. I think you've seen it in movies, seen it in pictures. It's a very famous place. So my family and I bought one lock and we wrote down our names for memory purposes. And we just enjoyed the view waiting for our taxi to pick us up to bring us to the airport.
들리면 안 돼. 방향 위를 질주해. Oh baby. Hey yo, 24/7 all day. Gonna be okay.
After leaving our names, we looked back at each other, took a few photos, and just lived in the moment. It was such a nice trip that it was really sad that we had to leave. Even though there were more places that I wanted to go, but because we were not there for long, it was time for us to leave, to go back home. I really hope that one day when I have enough funds, I can go to Korea again by myself, find our lock that we left, and make more memories and go to places that I did not get to go this time. Okay everyone, now we're gonna read a story on your textbook, student's book, page 91. Let's read the story together before listening to the recording. We will be reading about Tim's summer holiday. Turn to your student's book, page 91. Let's begin. My summer holiday. In July, I went to Mexico. In July, I went to Mexico. It was hot and sunny. It was hot and sunny. I was on the beach all day. I was on the beach all day. I swam in the sea and sailed a boat. I swam in the sea and sailed a boat. I took a lot of pictures. I took a lot of pictures. I didn't buy any postcards. I didn't buy any postcards. But I bought a big hat. But I bought a big hat. It was great. It was great. Now let's read it one more time. My summer holiday. In July, I went to Mexico. It was hot and sunny. I was on the beach all day. I swam in the sea and sailed a boat. I took a lot of pictures. I didn't buy any postcards, but I bought a big hat. It was great. Now that you've read the story, let's listen to Tim telling his story.
Module 9. Project. My summer holiday. In July, I went to Mexico. It was hot and sunny. I was on the beach all day. I swam in the sea and sailed a boat. I took a lot of pictures. I didn't buy any postcards, but I bought a big hat. It was great.
Good job on reading, everyone. Now we will move on to the writing tip. On page 91, everyone, of your student's book, look at the writing tip. Writing tip. Writing tip. We use "and" to talk about the same ideas. We use "and" to talk about the same ideas. We use "but" to talk about different ideas. We use "but" to talk about different ideas. Example from Tim's story. It was hot and sunny. I didn't buy any postcards, but I bought a big hat. Let's repeat. It was hot and sunny. I didn't buy any postcards, but I bought a big hat. This sentence is showing that during Tim's holiday, it was very hot and very sunny. But I bought a big hat is showing that he didn't buy any postcards, but I bought a big hat means he did buy something, which is a big hat. Let's look at more examples, shall we? Let's look at the definition in these pictures. We use "and" when we want to add more information. It's the same as the definition just now, which is we use "and" for the same information. I love apple and banana means I don't just love apple or I don't just love banana. I love both of them. So I say I love apple and banana. Moving on to but. We use but when we want to express contrast, opposite ideas, which means different ideas or something else. I live in Ankara, but in summers I spend my holiday in Silivik, Mersin. So the but here means that this is where he lives, Ankara. But during the summers, he goes on holidays in Silivik. Let's look at two more examples to make sure you fully understand how to use and but. I want chocolate and mint ice cream, which is saying I don't want just chocolate, I don't want just mint ice cream, I want both. I want chocolate and mint ice cream. I want chocolate and mint ice cream. I want them both. Moving on to but. It's raining, but we will still do PE. It's raining, but we will still do PE, which means it's raining right now, but we will still do PE. PE is physical exercise. PJ, pendidikan jasmani. So even though it's raining, we will still have PE. It's raining, but we still do PE. Do you understand? Let's answer some questions. Fill in the missing word. So fill it in with an or but. Let's start with number 1. My name is Mariam, but my sister's name is Fatima. My name is Mariam, but my sister's name is Fatima. Or you can say my name is Mariam and my sister's name is Fatima. You can use both and but. Number 2. I'm 22 years old and my birthday is on Tuesday. Or I'm 22 years old but my birthday is on Tuesday. In these situations, you can use both because it's already showing a difference and similarity at the same time. Moving on to number 3, this is clear. I was born in Dubai, but I live in Al Ain now. Means I was born in Dubai, but I don't stay there. I live in Al Ain now. I live in Al Ain right now, not in Dubai. Last one. My mother was born in Oman, but she lives in the UAE now. Just like number 3, my mother was born in Oman, but she lives in the UAE now. Means she was born somewhere else and she doesn't live where she was born. She lives in the UAE. She doesn't live in Oman, she lives in the UAE. Congratulations if you got everything right. Try to do more exercise by yourself so you can test if you actually understand how to use and but in a sentence. Okay everyone, let's move on to the next exercise, and that is on your workbook page 72. Turn to page 72 and we will get started with your holiday project. Turn to your activity book, page 72. But also have your student's book open right next to you. Keep it at page 91. Let's read the instructions together. Write about your holidays. Draw or stick a picture. Answer the questions given in the student's book on 91. Then present it to the class. So what you will be doing right now is actually find a picture in your phone or in your album, or you can just draw it in the box here of your activity book. You can be a holiday that you've been on or your dream holiday. So paste a beautiful picture or draw a beautiful picture of your holiday and then answer the questions on page 91. So page 91, find it at the bottom after Tim's story. You have 5 questions that you have to answer. Write it down on your activity book, page 72. The questions are: when did you go? Where did you go? Who did you go with? What did you do? Did you like it? These are the questions that you have to answer and write it at the bottom part of your workbook, page 72. On your workbook, page 72, above is a box where you draw or stick your photo of your holiday. Below, you'll see a few lines. On those lines, you answer the 5 questions that I've told you before. Answer the 5 questions, write down your sentences on the bottom part. Now, let's do my holiday. So I will be talking about my Korea holiday. I've pasted a picture of, I think, the most memorable thing that happened to me during my holiday. It is a photo of me with cardboard cutouts of my favorite boy group, EXO. So let's get started on the sentences. First question: when did you go? Years ago, I went on a holiday outside of Malaysia. Question 2: where did you go? I went to Korea in 2018. Third question: who did you go there with? I went there with my family. Fourth question: what did you do there? I went skiing, shopping, and went on an island adventure. Last question: did you like it? I liked it very much, and I really hope I get to visit Korea again. Now, let's read my answer again. Years ago, I went on a holiday outside of Malaysia. Years ago, I went on a holiday outside of Malaysia. I went to Korea in 2018. I went to Korea in 2018. I went there with my family. I went there with my family. I went skiing, shopping, and went on an island adventure. I went skiing, shopping, and went on an island adventure. I liked it very much, and I really hope I get to visit Korea again. I liked it very much, and I hope I get to visit Korea again. Now it's time for you to answer your own questions. Write about your holiday. Let's talk a little bit about my dream holiday. For my dream holiday, I've always wanted to go to France. However, after diving a little bit more to different kind of places, I realized my actual dream is to go to Japan. And the biggest reason why I want to go to Japan is because I want to see the cherry blossoms. Doesn't matter if during the bloom or after the bloom, I really want to look at the real life cherry blossom tree or cherry blossom garden. Every time I see it in the movies or I see it in cartoons, it makes my heart very happy, and I know if I get to see it real life, I will probably start tearing up. It's very beautiful, and when it's combined with other cherry blossoms, it's just a wonderful, peaceful, and amazing scenery that I really hope I get to experience. Moving on to the next spot that I want to go in Japan is the Naruto theme park. The Naruto theme park is located in a small island in Japan, and if it's from Osaka, it's a 9 hours round trip to get to the Naruto theme park. There's 2 activities, the physical and intellectual activity. I really want to go to the Naruto theme park because I am a huge fan of Naruto, and when I read about the reviews about the theme park, it was so much fun that one of the reviews was by a 50-year-old man. He was 50 years old, but he still had so much fun at the theme park that he said it is perfect for all ages and you have to visit it if you're a fan of Naruto and if you're in Japan. The third attraction I would like to visit for my dream holiday in Japan is the Ghibli Museum. In case some of you who don't know, Ghibli movies are, for example, Ponyo, Howl's Moving Castle, and Kiki's Delivery Service. There's also My Neighbor Totoro. And there's so many more movies, and Ghibli Museum makes the best relatable, magical, beautiful movies that I think is perfect for all ages. And since the Ghibli Museum is a museum where it recreates scene that happens or buildings that were in the movies, it is one of my dreams to experience walking around and seeing the buildings that were in the movies in real life. And I think if you're a fan of Ghibli, or if you just like beautiful buildings or beautiful gardens, you should visit the Ghibli Museum. In case you cannot tell already, I am a huge fan of beautiful things and museums. Another museum that is in my dream holiday bucket list is Team Lab Borderless. It is a museum full of illuminating art, means art made of lights, and it's also made out of 3D, 2D, and virtual reality. Once you step into the museum, it feels like you are in a different dimension. And it doesn't matter what age you are, I think you need to visit this museum because once you see it, your life will change. A must-have spot for my dream Japan holiday is the Shibuya Sky. Shibuya Sky is a rooftop deck which allows you to look at the whole of Tokyo. Best to go during the sunset, sunrise, or at night, and you can experience a 360 view on top. And there's also an escalator going down so you can see it's like floating in mid-air on top of Tokyo. Lastly, the must-have place, and as the name states, is the Tokyo Tower. You cannot be in Japan and not at least see the Tokyo Tower. And with this concludes my dream holiday in Japan. Let me know about your dream holiday in the comments. Looking forward to my next video. Goodbye, Teacher Putri out.